Welcome to my podcast episode on civic engagement. My name is Evelyn Resendiz, and today we're going to explore the importance of civic engagement in a democratic society and its role in shaping government policies and legislation. So you might be wondering, what is civic engagement? Simply put, civic engagement refers to the ways in which citizens participate in the democratic process to improve the quality of life in their communities. This can involve a wide range of activities, from voting and volunteering to advocacy and activism. Civic engagement is essential in a democratic society because it allows citizens to have a say in the decisions that affect their daily lives. By participating in the democratic process, individuals can hold elected officials accountable, push for policy changes, and create a positive change in their communities. But civic engagement isn't just important for communities, it's also beneficial for individuals. By participating in civic activities, individuals can gain valuable skills such as leadership and communication skills and develop a sense of empowerment and civic responsibility. So, what are some examples of civic engagement, you might be wondering? Well, here are a few. First one is voting and electoral participation. Exercising your right to vote, helping with voter registration drives, and contributing to candidates' campaigns. The second one is volunteering, which is donating your time to help those in need, whether through a local charity or community organization. The third one is advocacy and activism, which means speaking out on issues that matter to you, whether through writing letters to your elected officials or participating in peaceful protests. The fourth one is community service, which really just meaning participating in local cleanups, tutoring, and donating blood to your high school blood drive or really like any hospital or doctor's office. The final one can be engaging with elected officials, contacting your representatives to express your opinions and holding them accountable for their actions. These are just a few examples of the many ways in which individuals can engage in civic activities. By participating in these activities, we can create positive change in our communities and ensure that our voices are heard. The African American Civil Rights Movement was a huge moment in American history, with a civic engagement playing a crucial role in shaping legislation. Let's also dive into some key events and explore how the courts, Congress, and the executive branch supported the movement. Some key events and civic engagements. The Montgomery bus boycott from 1955 to 1956. After Rosa Parks' iconic act of defiance, African Americans in Montgomery, Alabama, organized a boycott of the city's buses, led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This successful campaign ended with the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. The March on Washington, 1963. This massive gathering where Dr. King delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech brought national attention to the civil rights movement and paved the way for landmark legislation. The third one is the Selma to Montgomery marches, 1965. After the brutal suppression of the first march, civil rights leaders, including Dr. King, organized two more marches, ultimately leading to the passage of the Voting Rights Act. Support from the courts, Congress, and the executive branch. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. The Supreme Court's landmark decision declared segregation in public schools unconstitutional, marking a significant victory for the civil rights movement. The next one is the Civil Rights Act of 1964. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed this comprehensive legislation which outlawed segregation in public facilities and employment into law. The third one is the Voting Rights Act of 1965. After the Selma to Montgomery marches, Congress passed this legislation ensuring the protection of African Americans' right to vote. Some key stakeholders and methods used. The first one is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. King's leadership and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference organizational efforts played a crucial role in mobilizing mass protests and demonstrations. The second one is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The NAACP's legal team, led by Thurgood Marshall, argued key cases before the Supreme Court, including Brown versus Board of Education. The third one is student-led organizations such as the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. The Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee played a significant role in organizing sit-ins, freedom rides, and voter registration drives. Legislative outcomes and lasting impact. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. This legislation abolished the race-based immigration quota system, opening doors to immigrants from diverse backgrounds. The second one is the Fair Housing Act of 1968. This act prohibited discrimination in housing, further expanding civil rights protections. The third one is the ongoing struggle for racial equality. The civil rights movement legacy continues to inspire social justice movements, from Black Lives Matter to advocacy for voting rights and immigrant justice. Thank you for listening.